is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. The author of this quote is said to be unknown, so I get to do whatever I want with it. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Now, this caused me to ask some questions.
I have some questions, so will you answer them?
What do you repeat day in and day out? Just think through your week, your month, your quarter, maybe even your year. What are some things that you get to repeat? Maybe not even day in, day out, but maybe on a week-to-week basis. Maybe multiple times a week. What about work tasks like email and meetings and maybe even presentations? What about teamwork? You know, everybody working together in a team, and you have a portion of that teamwork that you have to do. And is that something that you get a chance to repeat on a regular basis? What about leadership? What about leading people through interesting situations and overcoming circumstances to be able to arrive at a particular goal? What are some of the things that you repeat day in and day out? Because this quote says, as it suggests, it submits that success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Okay, what about home chores or home things? I don't even say chores. Maybe that's just for kids, but like cutting the grass. I absolutely love cutting the grass. I do that once a week. Washing the dishes. I am not that big a fan of washing the dishes, but my OCD requires a clean sink. And so, dishes must be washed. What about cooking?
I'm cooking something for Abraham.
What about taking out the trash? What about going for a walk? What are some of the things that you repeat day in and day out? Somebody said that morning motivation and media has become part of their morning routine.
And this is our morning routine.
What are some of the things that you repeat day in and day out? And as you think about some of those things, something that I love, a principle that I have long held and has served me well in life is that every time you get an opportunity to repeat something, make an attempt to do it better, faster, more efficient than the last. Because every time you get a chance to do something again, you get a chance to do it better. There's no doing it the same. You ever gone bowling and you get a strike? Even if your next bowl, you get another strike, the strike is not the same. Even if your next bowl, you get a spare, it's not the same. Here's a critical one that someone told me in the same bowling realm, right? If you got the strike and you can repeat it, meaning you know exactly how you turn the ball, you know exactly how you threw your hand, you were able to get that line up with the dots on the floor. If you are able to do that, then you actually have a repeatable process that you can utilize for success. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. If you can do that, then you have a repeatable process for success. If you can't, however, then your success in the last go round was either luck.
Don't push your luck.
Or a fluke. Yeah. Because every time you get an opportunity to repeat something, it is an opportunity to do it better than the last. So this definition of success, right? So success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. This definition of success almost sounds like a habit.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Doesn't it sound like a habit to you? I mean, and if success can be a habit, then the unfortunate truth is that failure can also be a habit. And we could easily modify the quote to say, failure is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. We only changed one word. And the quote holds true. What are you repeating day in and day out? Success or failure? Habits don't just happen to us. And this is why I like the term habit. You've heard me talk about habit before. Habits don't just happen to us. Habits are formed, meaning they're intentional, right? Habits are formed, meaning they're intentional. Now, some would say it was an unintentional habit, but you still formed them. You still work toward them. In fact, some would say whether intentional or intentional, you reap what you sow.
What I've learned from men like my father and Harry is that you reap what you sow.
How clean my car is or how dirty my car is, I worked for that. Yeah. How overweight I am or how in shape I am, I worked for that. Success or failure is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. The passing grade or failing grade, I worked for that. The New Year's resolutions that I've checked off or that are unchecked and unrealized, I worked for that. I worked for that. We had a Geico for our insurance company for our cars, and Geico had sent us the renewal letter, which they do all the time, and we're in the habit of paying it every 6 months as opposed to paying it on a month-to-month basis. So that's kind of our rhythm. That's kind of our schedule. That's the way we've budgeted it. And the way when the letter came in, it was at a time where we weren't quite ready to pay the full amount. So I needed to wait till the beginning part of the next month before I could actually pay it. This is our car insurance. And, you know, I have this bad habit of not checking my mail. In fact, even, you know, there at any given moment, there's at least a stack of letters there because I'm just so tired of junk mail. Am I alone out here? I'm so tired of junk mail, and I just feel like it's such a waste of my time. In fact, I'm about to pay for one of those services where somebody just checks the mail for me, shreds the trash, and actually sends me an email of the real ones so that I can actually just deal with the real stuff. I think that service is a ministry. It's something that I absolutely need to sign up for because I'm looking to hack my bad habit. Because what I'm about to share with you, I had to say to myself and my family, as much as this hurts, I worked for this. So we waited till the early part of the next month, but the month got busy and I just completely forgot to pay. And there is a grace period. In that grace period, Geico sent another letter, but because I have a bad habit of not checking my mail, I didn't see it. And I was traveling on a project, woke up in the hotel room that morning, and something said to me, "You forgot to pay Geico." So I frantically logged in, hoping that it had not passed the expiration date. And guess what, fam? The day I logged in, if I had simply gone to pay it the night before, I would have been able to avoid a lapse in coverage. But because I woke up in the morning and logged in and tried to pay, it had lapsed literally at midnight the night before. We had to pay a ridiculous fee to get it reinstated. We had to do some other shifts and changes. We had to declare, uninsured motorists for like 4 hours. There's all kinds of consequences that came along with me not checking my mail, me not paying this bill. And this whole scenario, while I thought it was unfair for 4 hours, I had to agree. I even sat my family down and explained to them all that happened because I wanted us all to learn from this lesson because I worked for that. I worked for that. Everything I was reaping in that scenario is something that I planted. And so I challenge you this morning. Listen, all of the stories can't be stories of winning. I had to share with you a story where I caught an L. But my challenge to you this morning is, what are the habits you're forming? What are you working for? What are the small efforts you're repeating day in and day out? Are they leading to successful habits or habits of failure? The awesome truth is that we get to decide literally every day. And that decision does not happen in indifference or ignorance. It requires us to take a thoughtful moment to reflect, to think about our week, our month, our quarter, our year, and make an intentional change. I like my car to be clean, and so we signed up for this car wash club thing that we pay. I think it's just under $30 a month for the two cars that we have, and that car wash club allows me to go to the car wash literally every day, twice in a day if I wanted to. And there are 7 of those car wash locations around the city. And so now my car is clean because I was intentional. I took some time to think it through, recognizing that $30 is still cheaper for 2 cars. If we go, as long as we go twice a week, that pays for itself. Actually, as long as we go once a week, it's already exponentially better than what we were getting before. I've decided to stop eating after a certain time and implement intermittent fasting. And so I'm hoping to get rid of this guy that's been hanging around here around my waist. I am making some intentional, thoughtful changes so that what I am working for isn't just by happenstance or indifference. It's something I can actually say, when you and others see the results, I worked for that. New Year's resolutions, the plans I have for my business, the content that I intend to make, the different things I'm hoping to push out there, the new podcast, the coaching corner, the morning motivation. I'm doing this, the masterclass. I want to be able to say with folks, I worked for that. I set up systems. I put the infrastructure in place. I've looked at me and recognized the patterns, understood how I tick, and I've created a scenario that, if repeated, I can tweak and fine tune towards success every single time. Because success and, real talk, failures are small efforts we repeat day in and day out. So the question becomes, what are you repeating? And that, my friend,